National Police Commissioner Kehla Sitole. And if we can just go back to the big story of the day, the memorial for the taxi violence, and possibly the first time that it's been confirmed that somebody has been arrested. And I'm just wondering if there are any more details that you can share about that arrest and what sort of impact it's going to have on taxi violence as a whole. And I know I'm aware of the sensitivities when it comes to the families, but...
It's okay. Let me just start with the impact. This is a crime of fear, and it has actually instilled quite a high level of fear to the public as a whole, and not necessarily to the family. And therefore, the impact of it is that it is actually bringing back hope to the community. But at the same time, their level of fear is stabilizing a bit, because now they know the danger is out of their reach.
Well, clearly this person that you've caught is a mega player, a possible kingpin.
Yeah, that is the part I wouldn't like to go to at the present moment, because I must still protect their interest until we conclude the whole matter. All I can say is that we have made some leads.
I mean, can you crack the entire taxi crime and the violence around it through this man and those linked to him?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't like to talk a lot around this man.
All right, okay.
Yes, because I want to protect the interest of the family, and it's dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah, for me to talk about it.
Okay.
But suffice to say, we have provided a positive response to this particular matter.
We are intrigued. Obviously, it would be good to know. All right, by the end of August, these are your words. You said, our objective is for crime to have stabilized in the country. Which August are you talking about? This year? Next year? I mean, that's quite a claim. In
June, we declared the national stabilization together with the minister, June this year. And that national stabilization has been going on, was scheduled for 3 months, which ends this August. And that is the period when we were actually experiencing quite a lot of cash in transit heists and other crimes of fear. And that is the period that we have promised. But coming to the heists, I think we've pushed them backward. The heist has actually stabilized. And there's a time when I heard you speaking about the 72-hour activation response. There's a time when we fall down, and a number of them, and we managed to arrest 23 over 48 hours. And it was the big ones. And part of those, more than 6 were part of the top 20 most wanted. And therefore, we have managed to take over 50 criminals, heist criminals, into custody.
Okay, and who's next? I mean, who and what would you like to target next? If you are being as successful as you say you are in getting to the bottom of taxi crime and the war on drugs, what's next?
Next is normalization. Remember, the moment you manage to push crime and stabilize it a bit, then you need to follow with the normalization process, which is now the sustainability of the impact. And we have already started with normalization interventions. And one of those, we had a youth crime prevention summit, where we are now mobilizing all young people in the country. And then we want to bring them in the fight against crime. Our intention now is to collapse the criminal operations.
It must be so hard, mustn't it? Because I'm sure you take one away and another one pops up, possibly equally violent. In the last 5 hours or so, there was another cash in transit heist in Umtata. So you think you've removed...
The one at Umtata was fall down within 72 hours. The criminals were arrested, the guns were taken, the money was taken.
Okay, I'm going to bring in, Samson. He's on the line from Lephalale in Limpopo. Go ahead, Samson. Samson?
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Very well, thank you. What's your question?
My question is, how does the police commissioner justify his claim as to they are protecting us, and yet there is this Senzo Mayiwa case where this player, Orlando Pirates player, was shot amongst people, and yet there's no one arrested? How does he justify this assertion that they are protecting us? What is wrong with the police? Are you guys playing political games or what? We want protection. Tell us what's the case, the issue with the Zenzo Mayiwa case, please.
Okay.
Don't sit on the issue. Thank you.
Simon.
Okay, yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, firstly, the Senzo Mayiwa case, it's a very emotional case that is for the public. Mm-hmm. But within the turnaround vision, we have what we call the cold case strategy. And in the cold case strategy, we're actually collecting all the cases that are long outstanding, which were not resolved. And there's a dedicated high-profile investigation task team that is solely focusing on them. They're working together with prosecution. But on the other hand, from the side of the criminal justice cluster, we're also even engaging, that is justice, the cluster. So the Senzo Mayiwa case is presently a high priority, and the moment we solve it, we'll come back to the public, but we're giving it the highest. It's top of the cold case strategy agenda.
Okay, if you say you're going back and looking at cases, and I know you know the high command at the time of the Marikana massacre, is that going to be something that's going to be reopened again? Are you going to be looking at it under a different lens there? And also what's happening in Kehla at the moment, the police violence there. I mean, that is not acceptable. How are you going to deal with that?
Okay, I think firstly, in the cold case strategy, we're doing continuous cold case analysis. That is countrywide. And if we realize that this case is a high-profile case and was not given sufficient attention, we take it into the cold case basket and then is attended to by that high-profile investigation that is testing. It applies also to all other incidents where the public was not satisfied. They would either talk to me, they may talk to the minister, or they may raise their concerns in any other manner. So then we're using this particular strategy. But the incidents where the police displayed a conduct, remember, we've got IPT and we've got other oversight bodies to look in that, and we just provide them with support.
All right, so you're saying that you've got other bodies who'll be looking at police action
police action.
Right, okay.
Yes.
When it comes to women, there's a great fear amongst women about how the police treat them. Often women have been raped by police, or if a woman has suffered a rape, they're traumatized by the police, they have to face up to the man who is accused of raping them. How are you going to change that? How long is that going to take to change? Because if you can't trust the police, who can you trust?
Okay, firstly, our minister pronounced crimes against women and children in his budget speech a high priority for this operational year. And secondly, the turnaround vision has prioritized the issue of women. I think soon we will be presenting to you the great successes of the family and violence that is unit, where they've actually made great inroads, where we demonstrate the fact that we care about these particular crimes and the high priority. But within the police, the moment police display a conduct, it has happened already, where firstly they chase women away from the police station, or they make remarks, no, you know, this person who's raped yourself. It's a serious misconduct. Yes, and we treat it as such. We do not hesitate to go the summary dismissal route.
And would you consider videos of police carrying their own personal videos, like what we see in the States, for example?
Yes.
Would that help?
That is part and parcel of the review of the technology requirement for policing in the country. That is the direction that we are taking, and we'll be getting there also soon.
Because you get the evidence immediately, don't you?
For sure.
Wulautsi from Alberton is on the line. Go ahead.
All right?
How are you?
Good, thank you. Please go ahead with your question.
My question is, got too much Nigerian who selling drugs in Hillbrow, Corner 5 and Prospect. Why these people doesn't arrest these Nigerians who sell drugs?
All right, thank you. How'd you answer that?
Thanks very much. I think firstly, I've captured the street, and as we leave from here, I'm going to be issuing direct instructions that we attend to the matter. But just also to give a little bit of hope to him, we will be declaring the stabilization of Gauteng on the 1st of August as a province, the whole province. And there's going to be maximum deployments there and national interventions, but I will be there myself also, and I will also get to this particular street. It doesn't matter who's selling drugs, whether it's Nigerians or whoever. We've demonstrated our seriousness in fighting drugs. Like I tell you, we made a bust of the biggest nature that is today, where we closed down a drug factory that is on the farm. So drugs are actually a priority for us. We address them through both the covert and the overt, that is type of policing, which is conventional and unconventional. So we will be looking at this as a priority.
Well, you clearly are a busy man with many issues to deal with.
Yes.
Do you think it would work if you had possibly departments just dealing with, say, taxi violence, for example, just dealing with women, so that you've got heads, people who are accountable and who can see it going all the way through, who can see positive results at the end?
I did not anticipate that I could get a positive input from you about policing, but...
Well, you know, it comes from the strangest sources.
No. Anyway, let me acknowledge it and say what you're just talking about is part and parcel of our work-study package, because through the turnaround vision, I've also directed that there should be work-study investigations conducted where we're looking at which of the specialized units we must establish so that they follow a dedicated approach. But we're also driven...
So that wasn't so far off, because it seems that if the police are stretched,
Yes.
it must be hard to focus on one important sector.
Yes, but as we are looking at establishing these units, we will also be guided by the modus operandi, and so that we prioritize the modus operandi that is a bit stubborn and complex for us to deal with, so that we can provide a response in terms of the safety of the communities.
We've got another caller, Sizwe from KZN. Go ahead, Sizwe.
Yes, good evening, Jane.
Good evening.
Yes. My question is, Jane, I want to ask the Commissioner, why did they abolish the taxi violence unit?
Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. Maybe let me start by saying, you know, there's modus operandi is a developmental subject. And the criminals, they will change from this particular modus operandi to the next. If, say, for instance, today, you've got taxi violence as a troublesome crime or a stubborn crime, then you will obviously come up with some measures that will respond to that. So in the past, they had taxi violence and hence the taxi violence unit. But as the time progressed, the criminals changed the modus operandi and they prioritize other types of crimes other than taxi violence.
As soon as they know you're getting close or
that's
getting
right.
to their heads.
Yes. Therefore, this is how some of the units were closed down in the service. But as he is raising it now, we, in part and parcel of the work-study investigations that we're looking at, we're not ruling out the possibility of the taxi violence, given the various modus operandi that are taking place at the present moment.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, we are going to be taking a short break, and we do have one of the highest murder rates on the planet and an alarming number of illegal guns. Tonight, we'll have gun controls in our crosshairs a little later.